to Rosewater with me, Cornish-Knight, as we continue the campaign. Now, we've just got onto the island in the middle of the bay, and we are investigating.
Whoever's staying in here must believe the stories about the island being haunted. If this is lit, it means someone's been here recently.
But where are they now?
It's got a dragon on it, but no indication of what tea is inside. Feels mostly full. A box of chamomile tea. Feels nearly full. Bai Ji Guan. Some kind of Chinese tea, I guess. Nearly empty.
So they're drinking that tea. Emery and Brown Company.
Oolong. I think I've had this stuff before. Running pretty low.
Okay.
This one's not labeled. Hey, there's something rattling around in here. A small silver key. I'll just hang on to it. Hey, Danny?
Yes, Harley.
Pretty spooky place, this island.
I'll say. I can see why people think it's haunted.
You don't believe in ghosts, do you?
I don't know, but we should be careful. Make sure you don't whistle or anything, okay?
What? Why not?
Just trust me.
Feel like I could lie down and sleep for weeks. Maybe I will when we're through. It's getting late. I hope we can make that dawn rendezvous. How rustic. Locked. Because of course it is.
Let's try...
All things considered, I could be looking a lot worse. It's keeping this... a spare lamp.
Okay, so I suspect that the silver key works here.
Here we are. It's empty, except for a couple of bullets. I'll take those. Hey, Phil? This is one spooky island.
Do not be afraid. We have dealt with far worse than some fog. Unlike that boat woman, I do not believe in ghosts. Nor do you, I suspect.
Okay, let's get outside. Okay.
Someone must keep this lighthouse running. Someone... Can't think of it.
Okay.
Bet this fort was impressive in its day. It's a crumbling ruin now.
Now let's get up here and have a look.
Shh. Not another step. There's a guard. Stay quiet. Not now. Odd device. Looks like it's meant to be spoken into. The guard keeps drinking from this cup. A strange wooden card lined with metal. It's got some holes on one side.
Okay.
Just some standard... Looks like we found the island's inhabitant. What exactly is he guarding?
We can't get past him. We need to put something in his drink.
Stay here. I'm going to see what's through that door over there.
How does the guard not notice?
This place is falling apart. A nice mountainside landscape. Cheery. There's a lot of broken glass in here. What's this? One container hasn't been broken. I might be able to use it. Nothing, just some muck. Just a dirty old sheet, and I see no reason to get any closer.
Okay. So I suspect that the bottle is...
An empty glass beaker.
Okay.
There's a metal drain.
Obviously we need to put something into his tea. That would be my guess.
Best not to burn that. That doesn't need to be... Best not to burn... That doesn't...
Okay.
Massive doors. Do they lead underground? It's a small slot. Looks like something flat and rectangular would... I have a feeling pulling that lever will make something important. Quite an elaborate... The guard keeps drinking from this cup.
Okay.
Not putting that in his... Not putting that... I don't want to risk drawing his...
Okay, so how do we do this? We obviously need to put something in his drink. Okay. The thing is, we've looked at everything else. But we can't get past the guard. Okay. Let's think logically about this for a second.
Odd device. Can't do that with a guard.
Yeah,
Looks like we found the islands.
we also need to put something into his drink.
Nothing.
Okay. Okay. Don't know if we have anything we can actually put in his drink.
Hey, Phil? Got any ideas for getting rid of that guard?
Yes, it is perhaps a gamble, but I think I might have a plan. This island is rumored to be haunted, no? The atmosphere is certainly eerie enough. I believe that with a little pageantry, we might convince the guard the rumors are true. I will need a couple of props.
Such as?
Some kind of light source and something I can cover myself with.
Hey, Dan.
Yes, Harley.
Any ideas for getting us past that guard?
Actually, yes. He doesn't look too tough. I could probably scare him off with a little gunplay. Only trouble is, I'm out of bullets.
Actually, I've already got some.
Great. Shall we go ahead with the plan?
I don't know. Let's see if I...
Okay, let me know.
1 second, folks. So better, folks. So we have two options. We can go loud with guns. We can try and be sneaky with. We can try and be sneaky. I think we should try and be sneaky, to be honest, because guns will basically alert security. Take the lamp. And light it. If we used a dirty sheet from inside the sick room,
There. Now I've got my own lit lantern.
okay. Need a bed sheet. The thing is, using guns would just attract a lot of attention.
Just a dirty old This could be what Phil's looking for. Ugh. Hope I don't have to carry...
Okay. The thing is, I'd rather have the guy running off scared than having a gunfight. Right.
Hey, Phil? Remind me what you needed to get rid of the guard?
A light source. Something to cover myself with.
Here, can you use this?
I would have preferred it to be less soiled, but I will make do.
Here, will this do?
This will be perfect. Perfecto. This is everything I need. Are you ready?
All right, let's go for it.
Very good. I will need some help from you, too. Come, I will explain. All right, help me put this together. Huh? What's that? What mortal foot treads upon this cursed ground? Your bones will mix with the dust of our bones. Flee, or join us in the dance of eternal torment.
Jump at Jehoshaphat! I don't get paid enough for this.
Chilling stuff, Phil. Wow.
What can I say? I felt inspired. Perhaps some of Jake's showmanship has rubbed off, eh?
Now to get those doors open. Can't think of it.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I know how to get the doors open because of the slot at the bottom.
Quite an elaborate.
Okay, so we take this.
It fits.
Santa Maria!
Wow, that's something.
You're telling me. Better take this card back. Don't want to be stuck down there. All right, folks. I think this is it. Wherever this takes us, I have a feeling Dr. Clark will be there.
The real question is, will we be able to return here once we've found him?
I sure hope so.
Maybe one of us should stay up here, just in case.
There's no telling what we'll find down there. We should all stick together.
Okay, let's go then.
What in the ether is this place?
It's a research lab.
Caramba! Oh, we had better not be trapped down here.
Damn, I knew one of us should have stayed up there.
So now we're looking for two things. Clark and the exit.
What? We weren't expecting, who are you?
We're here to see Dr. Clark. Are you him?
Me? Don't I wish? I'm just one of his assistants.
I see. Could you take us to him?
Hang on. You still haven't said why you're here.
We've come on General Laporte's orders.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so? Right, come with me.
Goodness, this place is really something.
I'm glad you think so.
What's that big glowing thing down there?
That's our etheric generator. Powers most everything down here. You get used to the noise. Follow me, please.
So I see plants being tested on, or plants being grown.
I'll just be a moment.
Do you think he suspects anything?
I think we're okay so far. Just follow my lead.
I suppose General Laporte's curiosity was too much for him to bear. I told him he could come for a demonstration next week. Instead, he sends 3 proxies. I will never understand that man's rationale. But you're here now, so you may as well see what we've got. I'm Dr. Bennett Clark, by the way. And you are?
Large reports. We are safety inspectors. We're new hires on the project. Report. Press corps. He wants to keep private.
I'm Miss Leger. This is Mr. Marquez and Mr. Luo. We've been engaged to assist on this project and have come to get a briefing.
New hires? I wish the General would communicate these things. But I suppose this is good. No sense sugarcoating what this work experience will have in store for you. All right, let's go have a look at Project Rosewater. I'm afraid the testing chamber only accommodates 4. One of you will have to stay out here with Joshua. But you may observe the test through the window. As I said, we weren't expecting anyone until next week. The prototype still needs refinement. Nevertheless, we have made a breakthrough.
Prototype of what, exactly?
You mean the General didn't tell you? Why am I not surprised? There on the tripod, the etheric pistol. The whole purpose and object of Project Rosewater. Juliet, is the prototype ready for demonstration?
I believe so, Doctor. But who are we demonstrating it for?
Miss Leger and her companions, the team sent by General Laporte. Now, please, do us the honors.
Yes, Doctor.
Santo cielo.
Whoa.
We have managed to confine the chaotic etheric discharge to a very narrow, focused beam over a distance of up to 6 meters, without significant dissipation or redirection of energy. Reaching nearly 68.2% efficiency, this results in complete vaporization of most organic targets, with only minimal atmospheric disturbances in the immediate vicinity. You might be feeling warmth, or a slight tingling sensation on your skin, and a change of pressure in your ears, perfectly harmless. Oh, and if you are experiencing any alteration to your color vision, I assure you that is also completely temporary.
Híjole, can you smell that music?
There are sometimes minor synesthetic side effects. That too will pass. Of course, there is plenty of room for improvement in range, energy efficiency, fine-tuning of the beam's intensity and area of effect, user-friendliness and safety. But as proof of concept, this irrefutably demonstrates that the principle is sound and that it can be scaled up. The rest is iteration.
Well, thank you for that thorough explanation.
Now I'm afraid you must excuse me. I have some time-sensitive tasks I must attend to. If only I'd been forewarned of your arrival, I might have made arrangements. In any event, if you have questions, I or my assistants can answer them. Just be mindful not to touch anything.
Okay, so let's look at the diary for a second. Dr. Clark sick on the gun lab. Under it, bluffed away in. It's a weapon, that gun that suits ferocity. Very protective targeting, control fast and if it takes excellently, blah blah. I mean, the only thing, like, I know they're making this out to be like a horrifying thing. Besides the lethality of it, it is literally just a handheld gun. There's no difference between this and a normal revolver. You shoot someone with a normal revolver, there's a very high chance they're going to die. This, yes. I mean, the upscaling obviously is terrifying. Implications of this.
Who knows what they keep? Not well, Clark. It appears to be a charging device. There's a small round socket at the top. Dr. Clark?
Yes.
Just how long have you been down in this facility?
8 months. We've made extraordinary progress, as you can see. I admit, I had some misgivings when I first learned what would be required of us. But it turns out the isolation has done wonders for our productivity.
So who built this whole underground complex anyway? I'm guessing it wasn't always a secret ethericity lab.
I'm not entirely sure. Apart from the additional equipment I specified, everything was already prepared for us when I arrived in El Presidio. General Laporte isn't exactly forthcoming with information he considers irrelevant.
I mean, the thing is, like, large scale, this would be a terrifying weapon. If you can imagine it being used on a large scale, like something like an artillery, like a death laser or that kind of thing. But small scale, if they could only ever get it to work small scale, then it's pretty much no more lethal than a pistol. Except maybe if it only has a touch part of the body. I suppose if touch is only part of the body, it's much more lethal. But I mean, if you still shoot someone in the arm with a high caliber revolver or the like, you're still likely going to kill the person, or at least remove the arm, which pretty much removes them from the conflict anyway.
Why did you agree to work on this project?
Why? I just experienced the worst disaster of my life. My work was first ridiculed and then outlawed, and I was exiled to a barren wasteland. The only prospect I could see was to leave the country and start everything over. But then I received General Laporte's offer. I could continue my work in safety and solitude. Everything I needed would be provided. No investors, no reporters, no loonies, no distractions. I'm certain anyone in my position would have jumped at the opportunity.
Who came up with Project Rosewater?
My understanding is that this work is for the benefit of the Vespuccian army. General Laporte is in charge of the project. Everything goes through him. Other than the facility guards, I've had contact with no one else.
How much longer until Project Rosewater is finished?
We're nearing the end of this phase. If all goes well, we should have a stable, fully functioning prototype by the end of the year.
What exactly is the goal of this project?
Well, once the etheric pistol is complete, we'll begin experimenting with larger caliber weapons.
Etheric rifles?
Yes, and whatever else the General sees fit to pursue.
Where does it stop?
You'd have to ask him that question.
How did this project get the name Rosewater?
My idea. Sentimental, really. I suppose I had gotten attached to my dry and dusty little desert lab. After all, Rosewater was my refuge when I lost everything else. I just made an offhand comment to that effect one day while discussing arrangements with the general. And he said, well, in that case, why don't you bring Rosewater with you? When I found out he made that the official title of the project, it made me smile, I'll admit.
Just how did you come to discover the existence of ethericity?
Ah, no, that's a story. When I was a boy, I read about the ancient Greeks and their studies of the heavens. Certain texts made obscure references to observations of energy subsisting in the atmosphere, something entirely different from electricity. The idea seized my imagination and sparked my passion for the pursuit of ethericity. I developed an instrument that I called the aetherometer in order to probe the atmospheric potential. Imagine my delight when I discovered that ethericity was in fact real. Unfortunately, the aetherometer has been appropriated by so-called spiritualists who believe they can use it to talk with the dead.
I'd like to know your perspective on the Lamplight City Expo incident.
Ah, that was a dark day. Everything I worked for came crashing down in a matter of seconds. Being maligned and ostracized was bad enough, but I can still hear the screams of those 15 poor souls. If anything good can be said to have come from that horrible event, it taught me that nothing in this life is guaranteed.
What inspired you to become a scientist?
Trite as it may sound, I wanted to make the world better. I had a fortunate birth. My parents were able to pay for my studies in Paris, which is where I earned my doctorate in physics. But even as a boy, I still saw plenty of terrible things going on around me. Others seemed not to see, but I did. Upon my return to Vespuccia, I began teaching and conducting independent research. My only explicit goal was to make some sort of discovery or development that would serve the advancement of mankind. I would like to believe I've achieved that.
Do you know much about General Laporte?
Right.
Not a great deal, no. I only met him when he summoned me to El Presidio. We speak occasionally, but only about professional matters.
1 second, folks. Okay.
Just as well, I suppose. His interests don't align particularly well with mine.
So your relationship is purely professional?
It's an acquaintanceship at best.
I'll let you get back to it.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's displaying all sorts of numbers and readings I can't begin to comprehend. Flashing lights and other displays. I can't tell if it means something or is just meant to look pretty. Looks like some demented puzzle box. So this is Project Rosewater. The lab assistant's desk. She's written some notes, but I have no idea what they mean. Pardon me.
Sorry, can't talk right now. If you've got any questions, ask Dr. Clark.
I don't think I'm allowed in there.
Okay.
Hey, Phil? Would you look at this place? It's incredible.
When we entered Clark's lab in the desert, I considered it an abomination. But now, I cannot find the words to describe this accursed place. The sooner we find a way back to the surface, the better.
That was really something.
So Laporte's got Clark developing etheric weapons for the military. This throws a wrench in Shaw's plans.
Despicable. Typical military. Working in secret to secure for itself awesome powers of death and destruction, without the knowledge or consent of the people. Perhaps Dr. Clark will be willing to abandon this project and turn his ambitions to something less wicked.
Perhaps. But I can't just ask him with his assistant right there. Maybe I can get her to leave the testing chamber so I can have a moment alone with Clark.
What's there?
A couple of wires from that food heating device. Some kind of little oven for heating food, I think. This thing is in dire need of repairs. Hey, Danny?
Yes, Harley.
How do you suppose they managed to build a place like this under an island?
Don't know, but whoever did it must be real serious about Dr. Clark's research.
I mean, the problem with what Phil is basically saying, in my mind at least, is that he's saying, oh, if he basically got taken away from here, he may turn it to some other more beneficial route. But the thing is, if we take him to shore, Shore may just decide, oh yeah, this is more useful than cornering the energy market. I mean, to be honest, her cornering the energy market is just as dangerous. Because if you think about it, if she can control the energy, she can basically become a tyrant.
These tomatoes are thriving. Must be all the exposure to ethericity. Looks like a more complex version of the console back in Clark's desert lab. Controls, gauges, and dials. Who knows what they're for? Never seen a lamp glow green before.
It is rather eerie.
Can't think of any. There's a metal panel covering part of this contraption. Nothing. Odd device. Looks like it's meant to be spoken into.
It would probably be wise to avoid doing that right now.
These crates are all marked Rosewater.
Like the ones we saw on the wagon.
As we suspected. This confirms they were headed for Project Rosewater.
Okay. No, I don't know. I mean, neither of these situations is good, because if she controls the energy market, she will basically become a tyrant. Because if that's what happens when you get a monopoly over a single resource, the person has like unfettered control. At the same time, having the fact that they're saying that increasing it up in caliber to have like giant death rays is not a great thing either.
Caution, testing in progress.
But the thing is, like, one of the issues with technology like this is that once someone starts the research, like, to be honest, like Dr. Clark has already, from what we've been able to see, has already put forward evidence that this stuff is in effect. So eventually someone else is going to come along and, like, experiment to discover this. So just trying to cover it up won't work.
Big and loud.
We'll cover it up. Just cover it up. Will only delay the inevitable. It won't stop it.
Bars of aurum. Lots of them.
Like this kind of situation is coming in this setting. And there's nothing that we can do to basically stop it.
This must be the door to Dr. Clark's quarters. Hey, can we talk?
Sure. What's on your mind?
Have you been down here long?
About 7 months, I think. Without any sunlight, you really lose all sense of time. Sometimes it feels like decades.
No sunlight? You mean you never go outside?
No, of course not. Are you is this some kind of test? The terms were made very clear when we signed onto this project. We don't break protocol. I do really miss the sun, though. Sometimes I feel like a mushroom down here.
How did you become interested in etheric research?
I was already a researcher when I met Dr. Clark, but my field was chemistry. I had dabbled some with etheric experiments after hearing about Clark's research. When I saw him at the Lamplight City Expo, I knew I wanted to work with him, despite what happened. After the dust settled, I approached him about taking me on as an assistant. I got the feeling he was just surprised to still have any support.
Don't you ever get bored here?
Sure, all the time. We've got books, but I've read them all. This is my third time through this one. At least this phase of the project's near completion. Maybe we'll get some time up top before the next one.
Never would have dreamed there was a whole secret facility hidden under this rock in the middle of the bay. Who built it, anyway?
The military, I guess. Had to be someone with very deep pockets. Everything was already in place before they moved us in.
What are your thoughts on Project Rosewater?
Honestly, I try not to think about it too much. We're doing important scientific research, I can't deny that. Just because our focus is on weapons doesn't mean our results can't be used for other applications.
See, he makes a good point. Like their research could be used for whole kinds of things like mining and all other kinds of stuff. I mean, it's like the catch-22 scenario, which is like with the Nobel Peace Prize. Nobel invented dynamite to make mining safer, but it got used predominantly. It made war a lot more dangerous, so he developed the Nobel Peace Prize. But let's just be clear with that, which was that even if he hadn't invented dynamite, people would still be using explosives because you had nitroglycerin, you had black powder. He only made it simpler. He only made it more stable. He used basically a kind of clay, that basically he bound with the nitroglycerin that made it more stable. So you can, and from those experiments there have been safer things came. A lot of people were saved by the invention of dynamite because you had a lot of mining accidents. It killed a lot of people. Mining and construction, where you had to use blasting charges, was extremely dangerous before the invention of dynamite.
How do you like working with Dr. Clark?
It has its moments, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't stressful. He gets wound up sometimes, which I understand, but other times he picks strange things to get cross about.
Like what?
Well, his biggest bugbear is food in the testing chamber. I made the mistake of taking my lunch in there once, and he just about had a conniption. Cleanliness is one thing, but this is a whole other level.
So Clark dislikes food in the testing chamber, does he?
Dislikes? More like detests.
Know anything about General Laporte?
I saw him once, right at the start of the project. Didn't talk to him. He seemed kind of intense. He's the one running this show, as far as I can tell. Beyond that, the man's a total mystery.
Is there any way to call the elevator from down here?
Not unless you have the code, and none of us do.
So how are you supposed to get back up?
We aren't. Not until the project's finished. But there's always a guard stationed up top. We use the device next to the elevator to call up if we need anything.
Okay, see you around.
Bye.
Let's try this tool.
There's no handle. There's a card slot next to the door. Seems to be locked.
Okay, it's right here.
The box is full of odds and ends. Some sewing and personal grooming supplies. A set of the only indication of time down here. Just some clothes and a couple of storage boxes. Just some... The lab assistants share a room? Not sure if that's progressive or scandalous.
I mean, It's not that scandalous. I suppose at the time period, maybe it would have been. Okay, we're going to put a cut in here, folks, and we'll pick up next time. I mean, I'm finding this story interesting. The plotline in this game is very interesting. I will say, though, that it's one of those things, like, I can see what they're trying to do, like evil death ray versus like energy market kind of stuff, but at the same time, either the general or Shaw basically getting their control over ethericity tech is just bad. One is a monopoly over it's like, let's put it this way, it's basically like having someone having complete, as a single person having complete control over say nuclear power. Like a private individual having control over nuclear power at the start of the nuclear age. It is a recipe for disaster, because eventually their ambition is going to get really, really large, very complex, and it's going to have issues dealing with them. That being said, having a military running around with death rays is not great, though to be honest, it's one of these hard things. The thing is with death rays, if you compare it to like nuclear weapons, it's not the same, because like from the sounds of it, I don't know, maybe if they scale up big enough, the death rays would be that dangerous, so they could turn it into maybe a bomb or something like that. But the thing is, like, it depends. Like, if he's still in the army, he should have a chain of command and government oversight. If this is a rogue operation, though, then he could try and use it to make himself dictator. But both of them could try and make themselves leader of Vespuccia, or leader of whatever of the continent that we're on, purely through different methods. So it's sort of apples and oranges at this stage. But we shall see what happens next time, folks. I've been Cornish-Knight, this has been Rosewater, and I shall see you again soon. Goodbye.